Howdy folks, it's your friendly neighborhood watchman again, bringing you another video, unfortunately, on Alec Baldwin to get us up to speed on current timeline. As you all know who's been following these videos, these volumes, these videos which are titled volumes 1 to 4, 2 to 4, following the first one. The reason for these videos, for any who may have missed any earlier videos, is because I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep on going through this after my initial first one. After my initial first video, I don't want to keep beating a pathetic, disgusting dead horse, but Baldwin's actions and his wife kept his horse from dying. They repeatedly would say and act in bizarre, asinine, narcissistic ways, which were at times so tone deaf as to boggle the mind. So their actions lit a fire under my ass to go back and do these follow-up videos. So you can thank Alec Baldwin for that. Here is Alec Baldwin blames the late Helena Hutchins in fatal rush shooting by Lee Brown, the New York Post. I would say that's surprising, but who are we kidding here? This is Alec Baldwin. This is right up his alley. This is who he is. But before that, I want to jump over to Daily Mail. It's the most popular news site on the internet. I don't much visit Daily Mail, but searching Baldwin, this popped up on DuckDuckGo. This popped up. So I'm not really going to get into this. So what? The pictures of him pushing shoulders with his wife, Hillary, in New York City. After actor accused those suing him over Helena Hutchins' death of being money motivated, which relates and brings us back to this article. So he's spotted in New York City, no big deal. They are alive. They have to live their lives, so to speak. Don't care what she's wearing. Again, we don't blame the kids, innocent children, over these two Nimrods' actions. So none of this means anything to me until we reach right here. This outing, right? These two here, captured by the paparazzi. Their outing comes after Alec alleged that many of the individuals suing him over the fatal shooting of Rush cinematographer Helena Hutchins are money motivated. As was said in a previous video, reading the journalist's article, McConnell, her last name was McConnell, who had written an article, money motivated. As I have read from an article in a previous video, Matt Hutchins and his son, Andros, they lost their wife and mother respectively. She had an income. She worked for a living, and unfortunately that work cost her death because she was working with an idiot named Alec Baldwin. So I am sure that on top of emotional suffering, they're also suffering financially. But back with this article, Baldwin also said he is hopeful that he will not be found criminally responsible for Helena's death. We know how she died. We won't go through that. This is a CNN footage, which I'm going to listen to this self-engrossed waste of a person. He goes with the story. Alec was told the gun he brandished was cold, i.e. not loaded, and in the December interview said he did not feel guilty for Hutchins' death because he didn't believe he was responsible. No. It was a ghost. No, he wasn't responsible. The gun shot itself. To quote Alec Baldwin, from the beginning, from the moment this happened, everybody was put out. Besides all the anguish and suffering, horrible feelings we have, and of course, there are two victims and nobody else is a victim, so to speak. We have dealt with a situation where specific people are not as interested in finding out what really happened, he told the festival audience. What you have is a certain group of litigants on whatever side, who their attitude is, well, the people who likely seem negligent have enough money, and the people who have money are not negligent. But we're not going to let that stop us from doing what we need to do in terms of litigation. I think he meant to say, unless he was misquoted, well, the people who likely seem negligent don't have enough money, and the people who have money are not negligent. Baldwin added, why sue people if you're not going to get money? That's what you're doing. The actor, who was billed as a special guest program at the festival, did not specify which of the multiple suits filed after the shooting he was referring to, because of course that Nimrod, Baldwin, is being sued by the family of Marine Lance Corporal Riley J. McCullum, whose sister Baldwin accused of being an insurrectionist. So this guy can't seem to keep himself from getting into trouble. Baldwin also reiterated his claim of innocence during Saturday's interview, once again placing blame on armorer Hannah Gutierrez Reed, 24, who has said that she loaded an antique Colt .45 revolver with what she believed were dummy rounds. So Baldwin is what, 63 or so? She's 24. As I said in a previous video, Baldwin has been around in the film industry long enough to know better. Certainly, he's almost triple this young woman's age to 24. But he's putting the blame on her. Yeah. When someone whose job it is to ensure the safety of the weapon hands someone else whose job was to be the secondary layer of protection for safety, and they hand it over to you and declare that the weapon is safe, that's how I lived my whole life, Baldwin says. Again, in a prior video, we said how George Clooney and others admitted that the safety protocols are there, they're rock solid, they're not hard to understand. You don't point the gun at anyone. In this day and age, you didn't need to, you weren't supposed to point a gun at anyone back when Brandon Lee died, tragically, in 1993. And you certainly don't need to point the gun even now with computers and, first of all, with angles. It's always been angles, how you shoot an angle to make it appear as if you're pointing a gun at someone. And certainly with computer graphics nowadays, CGI, you don't even need to have a real explosion come out. You could go digitize that in. Now, I understand some budgets, not every budget has the money for that. Either way, you can do it safely, and safety protocols were not followed. You don't point a gun at anyone, period. No matter what they tell you, just like you don't jump off a cliff. If someone tells you it's okay to do so. If someone hands you a gun and says it's safe, would you point it at yourself and look into the barrel? Now, I know some people would. There's been accidents and deaths that happen because of such carelessness. You hand me a gun and say it's perfectly fine. I'm not going to point it at and look through it in the barrel, okay? I've relied on safety experts there to declare the gun is safe and hand me that gun. Never had a problem. Yeah, until now, buddy. He also said actors are not allowed to declare that a weapon is safe to use. Why'd you point it at her? Why'd you point it at her armpit? You're not allowed as an actor to declare the weapon, Alec explained. I mean, the joke is, you don't want the actors doing a safety check. They can't even make coffee. They're so stupid. Well, that's not a joke because in your situation, in your case, it's dead on the money. He noted his hopeful investigation will reveal facts of his innocence, blah, blah, blah. Hopeful when the facts come out, he will not be held criminally responsible, but it has changed his life. Yeah, it changed his life. In terms of function of weapons in film and television. Again, they already have rules in place. Protocol. Safety protocols. Which is why such a thing hasn't happened since the death of Brandon Lee in 1993. Almost 30 years ago. You failed to follow it. You failed to follow it. Simple as that. Alec argues that real guns remain in films because that's what the audience wants. Yeah, he speaks for me. Because, you can't make exact replicas that doesn't shoot any projectile. Oh, he has a mask. Ain't that nice? It doesn't do anything to protect you, you dumb fart. Oh, poor lady. Yeah, the rest is just BS. Trying to pander to the audience. Hutchins was loved by people and admired, he says. Was a lovely woman. She was talented. Not talented enough to overcome your freaking idiocy, though? And talking about his back to work and how strange it was. Meanwhile, Hutchins' husband, Matt Hutchins, filed a wrongful death lawsuit, as we mentioned in the last video, against Alec and about 24 other defendants, including Gutierrez, Reed, and Assistant Director David Hall, last month, claiming they disregarded standard industry practices meant to keep movie sets safe. These included failure to use a prop gun rather than a live weapon, boom, that's a big, a lack of individuals qualified to handle weapons on set at the time of the shooting, and lack of protective equipment for crew. The complaint alleges reckless behavior and cost-cutting led to the senseless and tragic death of Helena Hutchins. See, you don't need anything new. Matthew's attorney, Brian Panish, said his firm has conducted an independent investigation that uncovered numerous violations of industry standards by Alec and the other defendants named in the complaint. A 10-minute video created by Matthew's attorney showed a 3D animated recreation of the shooting during a rehearsal in a church. It shows a computer-generated avatar representing Alec accepting the Colt gun from Hall, pointing it in Hutchins' direction and firing. The animation shows that the bullet in the chamber was live and not a dummy with a hole drilled into it. The round strikes Hutchins, who clutches her chest and collapses in the video. The lawsuit also states Helena Hutchins deserved to live, and the defendants had the power to prevent her death if they had only held sacrosanct their duty to protect the safety of every individual on a set where firearms were present, instead of cutting corners on safety protocols, on safety procedures where human lives were at stake, rushing to stay on schedule and ignoring numerous complaints of safety violations. The attorneys also claim Alec had refused training for the kind of gun draw he was doing when he shot Hutchins. Oh boy. Not surprising when it comes to that narcissist. The complaint also claims that Alec never checked the gun himself for ammunition before using it. Rest in peace. The suit also included a copy of a text message where a local camera operator made safety complaints to producers that there had been 3 unsafe weapons discharges and that the set was super unsafe. The unit production manager responded with callous sarcasm, according to the lawsuit. He said in response that it was awesome and sounds good. You know, unfortunately, in similar situations such as this, involving accidental deaths, it's always crap like this, you know? Always. Almost always. Horsing around, things not taken seriously, certain people complaining or worried about unsafe practices that's just ignored until the shit hits the fan. Yeah. Some of this we went through in my last video, so I don't want to repeat it. The widower, Matt Hutchins, alleges at least 15 safety practices were disregarded on the set and argues that a wider cost-cutting culture ultimately led to Hutchins' death. Everybody's suing. There's a bunch of lawsuits here. Ain't no joke. Lawsuits filed against Alec Baldwin and Rush production members. Matthew Hutchins filing suit. Script supervisor Mamie Mitchell filed a lawsuit against Baldwin in November 2021, arguing he should have checked the Colt 45 revolver he was holding to make sure it did not include live ammunition. Mitchell, who said she was in the line of fire during the shooting, alleges assault, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and deliberate infliction of harm, and is seeking unspecified damages. Chief Electrician Sergei Svetnoy also filed a suit against the actor. Svetnoy accused the producers and others of failing to implement safety standards and of allowing a revolver loaded with live ammunition to be pointed at living persons on the Rush set. He alleged there was no reason for a live bullet to be placed in a gun or even to be present on set. That's a big nasty mess. So we return to this article where Alec Baldwin blames Helena Hutchins in the fatal shooting. We've gone through this before. Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office still investigating the incident and no arrests or charges have been made. We covered this and this. Yeah, because, you know, money is worth more than my wife and my kids. Let's not sue you. Let's not do anything. Let's just feel sorry for you, Alec, because you're not to blame. So we are all caught up with this disgusting individual and tragic story involving the death of Helena Hutchins. So he filed legal papers Friday denying any responsibility for shooting dead Helena Hutchins. even blaming the late cinematographer for giving him the directions that led to her untimely death. Can you believe it? The 62-year-old actor insisted that every single mistake leading to the October 21st shooting on the New Mexico set of Rust was performed by someone else. Yeah, this buffoon is beyond belief. His filing Friday also revealed that Baldwin made an exhaustive effort to get the crew back together to finish the doomed movie, even after a flurry of lawsuits blamed him for mom of one Hutchins' death. This is a rare instance where the system broke down and someone should be held legally culpable for the tragic consequences, the star's lawyer Luke Nikes wrote in an arbitration filing Friday. That person is not Baldwin, said the filing, adding that he is just an actor. Yeah, okay. He was just a producer too, in charge of everything on that set, including firearm protocol. The arbitration demand against Baldwin's fellow producers claimed the star's contract protects him from any financial responsibility in a slew of lawsuits filed against him, including a wrongful death complaint by Hutchins' widow. Oh, really? Some piece of paper contract protects him from any responsibility, huh? Incredulous. Even without the clause, Baldwin was completely innocent in the unthinkable tragedy, quote unquote, according to the filing. That's why people hate lawyers. This is a big reason. The filing, they also detail Baldwin's initial communications with Hutchins' widow Matthew, who allegedly hugged the star and told him, I guess we're going to go through this together. Warm relationship with Matthew, telling Baldwin he was very gracious, helping him and his 9-year-old son Andros by posting Halloween pictures of their kids. Yeah, I could see where you really helped Matthew there. Baldwin repeatedly said he understood that Matthew wanted to cut ties, but the widow continuously assured him he wished to keep in touch and maintain their positive and mutually supportive relationship. Yeah. So he wanted to complete the film with the intention of honoring Helena's legacy and compensating Hutchins and his son from the film's profits. Yeah, okay. So public relations 101 right there. Plans to complete Rust and to channel its proceeds into a fund for Hutchins and his son's benefit have unfortunately broken down as a result of the lawsuit and these public statement filing said. What a surprise. The actor was completely taken aback. Can you believe it? Yeah, well, this is a narcissist we're talking about. When the widower gave his own TV interview saying he was just so angry at Baldwin's absurd claims. The Matthew Hutchins that showed up on the Today Show, someone Baldwin has never encountered before, Friday's filing claim. Yeah, because only Baldwin can give interviews. And because after seeing the way he's been acting, Baldwin and his wife, especially Baldwin, and the things he's said on video, on interviews, won't change a perspective the husband might have had before Alec shut off his mouth. Well, he said, I can't anymore with this. Rest is just hearsay, and we'll get down to the nitty-gritty. Guess the final video on this sad subject will be if Alec is found guilty or not. And if there's any justice, he will be. And Matthew and his son will win the lawsuit. Because these videos haven't been fun to do, to be honest. As I said, I've done them because I sat here sometimes just slack-jawed at the comments and actions performed by this pompous jerk and his wife. Rest in peace, Helena. Not much more can we say. You deserve better, that's for sure. Well, gang, we reached the end of a video centered again on Alec Baldwin, which isn't fun for anybody involved. But thankfully, we won't have to hear any more until the lawsuit is won, optimistically speaking. Well, gang, please give the video a like. And if you haven't done so, subscribe and support my channel. I appreciate it. I appreciate you taking your time to watch them. As always, take care. And until next time, I bid you peace.